This happens every time, though.
No, but we're not. It's 8 o'clock.
It's here. All right. One sec. Quiet. 1 sec. All right, we're live. That might be the first time we came live without being mid-sentence. We'll see how it goes. Oh, wait, last week was, you know what? A lot of people shouted me saying last week was hard.
Last week was hectic, and there's still obviously there's still disputes over who won that clash.
Obviously, I won that clash.
You won it.
Yeah.
Because you see, the thing is, Nova, yeah, you can't take words. You see, you can't take the words of them. You like that Sean Levy guy.
No, I'm saying
you can't take
my word. It's my word.
If it's your word, fair enough. If it's your word, but you can't take these people's words, yeah. And here's why: because this geezer who was talking about, get someone else, yeah, your ratings are rubbish, yeah. He had a video up for 3 years, right? And the video had 0 views. And then he turned around, and then he turned around and said, it's because I don't use it for anything but streaming games. So you can't really take look, any man who spends his day playing World of Warcraft, you can't really take his word for anything.
I can. He's still a human being. At the end of the day, he wrote something.
I understand that, but in this situation, yeah, it's only certain human beings are counted. And that's what I want to get to.
This is the difference between me and you. That I'm for the many and you're for the few. You only count some human beings. And this is why.
Yeah, but you know what? I am, because you know what? I've only got a few of these left. Right. So what you got? What? No, listen. Right. So here we go. So basically, regardless of all these pussy holes, yeah, that's what I call them, pussy holes. Yeah. Regardless of what these pussy holes say, yeah, about whatever, about don't have terror on the show. He's this, he's that. Yeah. The Bad Slave brand has been popping off. Have you seen it about?
I've seen it still, yeah.
It's been about a lie. It's been about, yeah. So regardless of what these pussy holes think and say, the Bad Slave brand's doing very well. And the reason why it's doing very well, because there's more people out here who agree with what I think and what I say than agree with what these people say.
No, I don't know about that.
And that's why, and this is the proof. I nearly sold out of these. But I need people to hit me up quick. People need to hit me up quick, right?
Because there's not more people, bro. That doesn't mean there's more people who sold out or something. And people buying that don't mean they agree with you.
No?
I don't agree with you, but I'll buy one.
Bro, I won't sell it to you. That's the thing. I won't sell it to you if you don't agree with me. That's the thing. People think they're going to buy bad slave t-shirts and then go run around on some bullshit. I won't sell it to them.
What I was saying last week, yeah? Last week, it was very, very clear that you couldn't answer my questions.
No, bro. You know what? Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Like last week, what was very clear. The only thing that was clear is that you put the fear of man before the fear of God, and that goes for all these people.
No way. No way. I'm speaking all of that thing. You was using all of that like God stuff out of context. You couldn't apply it to.
How can God be out of the context?
I can apply it to my stance better than you can. You couldn't even apply it to what your stance is.
Really? Why not?
I don't know. I asked you and you couldn't do it. You tell me.
No, bro. No, bro. This is the thing.
We got to guess.
This is the thing.
We got to guess.
You're following left wing. You're following left wing ideologies. Uno's following right wing ideologies.
So are you.
And I'm trying to follow the Most High. Yeah, so that's all. That's the difference.
Well,
that's the difference. You're going left, he's going right, and I'm going up.
The right wing often claim to be following the Most High, but we have a guess.
Like when?
Before I press this button, yeah. Like obviously, yeah. Uno. I've never ever got a Tory voter ever to come on a show.
Give me 1 second. 1 second. He's back in the back. Sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I'm being a bit of a fucking dickhead today. I'm not going to lie. I've hardly had any sleep. Anyway.
Uno has been a big part of the Political Debates UK group. He's an open Tory voter. No, a lot of people don't believe he's a real person. I've been trying to get him to do a show for ages. So let's see if he's going to show his face even.
Well, I was the one who realised. I was the one who discovered that Uno was a satire performer. and I'm convinced to this day that he's a satire performer. And not only that, I think he's the best. I think, like, I'm actually Uno's biggest fan. I'm starstruck. I'm slightly starstruck because I'm actually Uno's biggest fan. And then even after people convinced me that he probably ain't a satire actor, this guy is actually serious, I thought, you know what, I still like him. You know what I mean? He's just unique. Like, so I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I agree with probably anything he says or everything he says.
Loads of it. We're gonna get to that. Listen, look, it says Uno is connecting to audio and it's not connecting. He is there, like it is trying
so
to.
Uno's listening to us.
Like, it's not connecting. It's not. Oh, there we go.
Oh, what was that? What was that? What was that? Come on.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello.
Where's Uno? Yes.
We can't.
That's what I'm talking.
He might be getting straight for the audio though. Are you?
Oh,
Uno?
boy, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. I would like to see his face, but it's better than nothing.
Are we gonna get to see you today, Uno? Or is it an audio only affair? Oh, there he is. There he is.
How come I can't see him? I can't
What's
see Uno. What's going on? Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Can you see him?
Yeah, I can see him. Man, like Uno, come on, legendary. Yeah. What is he going for the roof?
Apology. I need an apology. I'm real. I'm not fake.
We can see it now. We can see it, and I love that. I love that.
Did
So
you get
come
a
on.
haircut? Did you manage to get a haircut? Or what's?
No.
No, you didn't get one. You got a hat on or something. I can't really tell. I was gonna say, did you break lockdown to get a haircut? But all right.
Yeah. Well, some do they just going around people's houses doing it, but
Yeah, I hear you. But all right, Uno, I want to ask you something. Yeah, the first thing I was trying to work out. Yeah,
yeah.
is I haven't even been active in the debate group that I started that often. I go and check it any day, and it's bare posts because I was pre-approved people. But I ain't been looking at a time. And I went to search your name to see stuff you had written and stuff, and I realized you're not in there anymore. Terra said I deleted you. I don't remember doing it. I don't remember, but you're not in there anymore.
You deleted me. You wanted me to come on the group first. I mean, to come on the show first before then you put me back in. That was your comment.
Oh, so yeah, real. There you go. Well, there you go. Yeah, I said I think he's a troll. I think he's not a real person.
Oh God.
So
What's up?
tell me, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you vote Conservative?
Various reasons. One is the principle behind the party itself. We are kind of, especially for Black people, we are born to believe that we have to vote in a certain way or think in a certain way in politics. But if you really look at Black history and Black people, we are more likely to lean towards conservatism rather than socialism.
Why is that?
Because we are business orientated, we are kind of like always thinking about innovation and how to improve ourselves. We are not used to this idea where people have to do things for us. Like for instance, you see, there is, how would I put it? Especially, for instance, this is the main reason I vote Conservative. You see, there is no such thing. Okay, I'm going to start with a controversial one. Thatcher was right when she said there is no such thing as a society.
Thatcher, you're a Thatcher fan, of course.
Yes, there is no such thing as a society. But pay attention to what she said. She said there is no such thing as a society without the family and without the individual. So she was laying emphasis on the individual, that if you have a strong individual, you have a strong family. And if you have a strong family, you have a strong society. So there is no such thing as a society by itself. So Labour thinks about something like a collective responsibility where you find like, they say, let us all do this. But the individuals in that collective responsibility might not be that strong enough to do those things that they are saying, let us all do it. But if you have strong individuals and have strong family and have a strong society, then you'll be able to do those things.
But every person is an individual. So if we only are like bringing to the analogy of many and few, if we only focus, only few individuals can be strong, then most individuals are failing. You know what I'm saying? So
no, that's
working.
No, we're not saying only few individuals can be strong. The problem is that when you lay emphasis on collective responsibility, you hide the weakness of those individuals to the point that those individuals do not see their weakness as weakness and they don't want to improve themselves. They wait for the society to do it for them. And
I do kind of.
I get.
And Nova, you might hate Nova. You might hate me for this.
I know you're going to agree with. You're
No. I get where he's coming. No. I know. I didn't say I agree. I get where he's coming from, because I think when you say with black people, I think that does apply a lot in black countries, for instance. Yeah. So you'll find in Africa, especially, countries that are trying to build their economies up and are becoming the next superpowers. That is more the kind of mentality that they would have. However, in the UK, where conservative voting in the UK tends to be a thing which is favoured by non-minority voters. I don't know how if the same could apply.
No, because in the UK we are designed to vote by history. Yeah. We are not designed to vote by the now. We are designed to vote by history. For instance, I wouldn't vote Conservative of the 1950s because of the, if you're a nigger, vote for Labour posters. Yeah. I wouldn't vote Conservative. Yeah. But I'm voting for the Conservative now.
But now we have a leader who says like similar things in his speeches openly anyway.
Yeah. I don't think the racism has gone from that side. I think they're just careful with how they say it. But I don't think, as far as the Tories being the main party for racist people, I don't think much has changed since the 50s.
No, I think racism is more in the left now than in the right.
I think it's there as well. I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's very prevalent in the left as well. Yeah?
What do you mean by the left? Who do you mean by the left when you say racism in the left, like, for example?
Most people have left-leaning views. Some white people, not all white people. Some white people.
I'll give an example. I'll give you an example. Okay. Right? Race. I'll give you an example, Nova. So Race is Exposed. When I was running Race is Exposed, right, we got a lot of people that came through the Black Lives Matter movement. So you had a lot of the people that would probably be Labour by default and all these things. Yeah, they were sitting in the group for a while.
I want to know who's left. Like, who are they? Like, left?
No, I'm going to give you an example, right? So what we started getting off of those people is we would get racism off these people, and they would say stuff that was blatantly racist, like, and they wouldn't even notice what they're doing. And it was almost like they were so, I don't know, they were so like, they just follow anything. They probably only started following this.
There's racism everywhere in that kind of sense, yeah, especially in any communities with a lot of white people, right? But
there is a problem with the racism in the left, because the racism in the left is that this type of racism where they tend to tell a black person, oh, I am pro-black, then I know what it means to be black more than you.
Okay,
I find that really offensive.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Like, I've seen you in the group talk about before, like, you know, like you as a black person being expected to vote a certain way. You touched on it in the beginning. Like, that's why I don't really think it's my place to challenge you. I'm gonna ask why you vote Conservative regardless, but I'm not gonna sit here and say you're black, you shouldn't.
I vote for policy.
I think it in some ways, but I don't think it's my place to really. Do you know what I'm saying? And if white people are making that stance, it's problematic, and I think they need to probably think about what.
No, but it is racism, but they don't know it's racism.
Yeah.
They are oblivious to their racism. Yeah. Because they come in and they tell you I'm pro-black. I don't know what being pro-black means because I've been black all my life.
Yeah. It means nothing really.
Coming back,
means nothing.
Yeah? To your point, yeah, of why you're voting Conservative, and you're saying the individual, right? And Terra, you spoke about
individual freedom.
Other countries who think like that, right? About
yeah. A lot of you'll find, like Jamaica, for instance.
Bro,
Jamaica always had right-wing governments, right-wing.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people, innit? So, okay, so the people are voting in them governments as well.
Well, they only have 2 right-wing governments to choose from, so.
Yeah, so same as us, same as America. So what I'm saying is, in those countries, is there not a more of a community kind of situation going on anyway, where people do look out for each other?
In every country, there is a community going on, but where the emphasis is the issue. Labour lays emphasis on collective responsibility. The Conservative lays emphasis on individual responsibility. Individual responsibility does not necessarily mean that you abandon collective responsibility.
Well, the problem is,
but putting collective responsibility above individual responsibility can become problematic.
Well, the problematic part is, is when you focus on individual responsibility and you use that in order to create individual privilege and individual opportunity for a group.
Oh yes, that
makes collective responsibility impossible, because now you're pushing a majority of society as individuals into a position where they can't have an individual responsibility because they can't even eat day to day. Yeah, so they're in a situation where, and this affects, minority groups, class groups, etc. Like, people are kind of forced into this situation where you can't do those things certain things as an individual, because the actual odds are so stacked against you. It removes the individual responsibility.
I don't think the odds are stacked against most people. I think the problem with most people is the lack of information. Some people don't know how to, especially with Black people, for instance. I'm sorry to say this, but we do not like application forms. And that is the only way you're going to get a job. So I have people who have been calling me, can you help me with my application form? This application form, they have been talking about this application form since last year, October. They're still calling me. I say, can you help me with my application form? Can you help me with my application form? We don't like things like that. And that is the only way to get a job. And if you don't like the particular job, and if you look at, for instance, if you look at the Polish, for instance, when they come here, they could be like, they could be picking apples, and then the next minute they are working in a restaurant, the next minute they are working somewhere else, the next minute they are working somewhere else. They think about their own personal development. Well, we don't do that. What we do.
Are you telling me Black people are not doing that? Black people are not in the workforce?
No. We are in the workforce. There are some of us who do what I've said. We are in the workforce, but we are concerned.
People in the workforce than Black people.
No. I'm not saying we are not. I'm not saying we are not in the workforce. We are in the workforce. We don't just like the application of moving ourselves forward. For instance, we will stay in one place and do the job for 90 years if we have to do that.
What about
we are not thinking about
the situation? What about the circumstances that actually it is more difficult to receive promotions and stuff like that in companies for Black people?
If a company is not giving you promotion and you have enough skills to get another job, you get another job. You don't sit down in that particular job and wait for the company to give you promotion.
It depends if the job,
you both made some good points. You both made some good points. What I would say is, it's true. Yeah. A lot of times, Black people, they do stay in the same positions for a long times. Like
they stay there and they fast and pray.
Yeah.
They stay there, they fast and pray, and they call on God to come and do like
But exactly. Yeah, that is the thing. Sometimes that's the solution. Yeah. I think what they need to start doing is they need to start taking more. If you can't fill out an application form, I can't fill out an application form. But at the end of the day, I just work for myself. So sometimes you've got to say, you know what, I can't worry about the people complaining about not getting promoted because they're Black, not doing this because they're Black, not getting a job because they're Black. If that's the case, then don't go to these people in the first place. Why are Black people spent 70 years trying to be liked by people that don't like them? If that's really the case and they're not going to hire you because you're Black, then you need to start your own shit. And that's why, like you said with the Polish, don't really hear the Polish moaning too much because they're like, if the English man don't like them, he's just going to say, oh, fuck it, I'm going to start my own company, Polish-owned company, employ Polish people, and that cuts out any bullshit of discrimination. So it's a good point from both sides.
But the Conservative government is not making it easy for anybody to do that, especially not at the moment.
It's not, but at the same time,
it's not a Conservative, it's the job market. The job market is there, but people are not just looking into the job market.
Now, I'm saying it's not easy to set up a company right now.
No, what I'm gathering from this, is that what he's trying to say is that you see the way Labour is making it. So the Labour is saying, you know what, we're going to help everybody. We can see your black people are in a fucking a failed state. Where don't worry, we're going to fucking help you. Yeah, but really and truly, when the time comes for them to help everybody, when the time comes to help everybody, black people will remain at the bottom of the pile. So as long as if you're a black person and you don't mind waiting after being served after every single other race that's in this country, and then they'll get to you. So anyone who understands what the Labour Party, for instance, is all about.
You're making a different point. You're making a different point. Because your idea is that, set up your own business, set up your own kind of situation because nobody's going to help you, which I respect. But the Conservative government, that's going to be more difficult.
It will be.
But the thing is, like, if you don't make the application, nobody will employ you. You have to try and make those applications and then see where it goes. And your skills depends on you.
But Uno, there's plenty qualified black people that are educated and are going out and getting jobs and working high-paid jobs.
Or plenty trying to and not getting the jobs they should as well. Let's not pretend.
Everyone is trying to get what they ain't got and ain't got yet. Even me. Yeah, we're all trying to get something. Yeah, like that's just life, innit? Sometimes you can't just put it on the fact that you're black. You might actually be in some cases. Some people are.
But isn't that the case even with the police? And that's another issue completely from the job situation where a lot of black people, when they go out and they get into trouble with the police and the police arrest them, the first thing they say, "Oh, I am black."
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but the reason why they're thinking that is because of the police. Yeah, but the police have made them think that. No, they never came out. They never came out their way.
The police have not made them.
I need to ask a clear question. I need to ask very clearly about what you just said. So, are you telling me? Because I've seen you say stuff like this before. Do you believe there is institutional racism in the police force?
Do I believe there is institutional racism in the police force? No, I don't believe there is such a thing as institutional racism. What I do believe is that there can be somebody in an institution that uses his position of power within the institution for racial activities, but I don't think the institution in itself is racist.
Yeah, but however, and I can tell you this for a fact, the police have been in my lifetime stopping and harassing, beating, jailing, killing black people in London for being black.
For being black.
For being black.
Ask yourself this question: how many black people walk past that road that day, and it's just you? What's so special about your own being black that the police came and caught you and just beat you for you being black?
You know why? Look at it like this, innit? You see a robber. A robber doesn't rob everyone he sees, does he? If someone's going out on the street to rob someone, he doesn't rob everyone he sees.
Yeah, but you must be so special.
He looks for the person who he can target, and he looks for an opportunity where he might look for someone a bit vulnerable. It's the same as the police. The police will look for people that are vulnerable, and they will target black people, and they will target Asian people as well. And if they can't find an Asian, they might target a white boy in a hoodie.
I think that this is why we have problems with the police. It is because what we call the Black British culture is what is in the UK known as the prison culture. And because this culture is being used in the prison and we have adapted it as our own culture, when those behaviors...
What culture is this? What culture is this? I don't know about any prison culture.
You don't know prison culture? Google it.
I don't know prison. No, but yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You need to explain it to me because I've never been to prison. So I don't know prison culture. I haven't got fam. I never grew up around people in prison. So they need to explain to me what prison culture is.
What you call black culture in the UK?
What do I call black culture? No, because the thing is, what I call black,
like
what
the
I call black
gangster culture,
in the UK,
the gangster culture, you know, putting your pants down here and walking around.
What do you mean? I don't see anybody doing this. This is what I'm saying. The black people I encounter, look, on a day-to-day basis, yeah, the black people I encounter do not. This is my opinion. The black people I encounter on a day-to-day basis are not people with their pants sagging down and whatever you're trying to convey. I'm not saying that, right?
You might not encounter that, but it doesn't mean they don't exist.
Yeah, but you're trying to say that this is black British culture. Well, black British culture.
I'm not saying no. I'm saying that prison culture is okay. If you watch X Factor, for instance,
I don't.
So what do you watch then?
Nothing. Listen, I watch my own podcasts.
Listen, you've got to read the comments because otherwise they'll get left behind. Yeah, there's only a couple right now. Jesse Freeman just said, Uno and Terra denying systematic racism. I think we've already kind of covered that since then. And then someone called Lenny is saying, I'm not sure if you know this, but 40% of young youths that are being stopped and searched are black. I don't know what they mean by that 47. Are they saying it's less than?
He's saying that it is a factor. It is a factor because black people don't make up 47%. Black youth don't make up 40%.
They said, and if you look at the police figures, it's always the black community that is the ones that have the highest figures. So I presume they mean highest figures as in being persecuted and stuff, whatever. But I looked into the numbers of that not long ago because when I was younger, this was the conversation going on back then when I was at school, and the statistic was that you were 8 times more likely to be stopped and searched as a black person, right, in London in London, I think.
Yeah.
And now it's 40 times more.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I first got stopped by the police when I was 8 years old. So when I was 8 years old, my first encounter with the police, and these encounters went on throughout my life up until 2011 when I was wrongfully arrested. Since then, I know it sounds crazy, and I've even done things that, boy, like, I have not had much problems with the police. Don't get me, it doesn't mean I haven't had no encounters with the police since then, but it's, for me, I find that since the London riots even, so since the end of the London riots, I myself noticed a big drop in police harassment. It doesn't mean that the police weren't harassing me before because I was black. That's why they were stopping me, because I was black. I've been stopped on many occasions for no reason, yeah, because I was black. It's that simple, yeah. So, and not only that, because I'm black and I'm good looking as well. So remember, that's another thing that's going to piss them off, and intelligent. So there's another thing that's going to also piss them off. So it's not like, yeah, you could go after any nigger on the streets, but at the end of the day, they're going to go after the one, in some cases, that's getting under their skin. You understand? So I
don't think they were stopping you before because you were black. I think you never asked them why.
Because I was good looking, eh? No, it weren't because of that. What was I doing to be stopped then?
I don't know, but did you ask them?
I'll give you one example. Right? So here's one example. I went to go and meet some of my friends from Manchester. I was at Euston Station. I went to go I had my bike with me. I walked into the station and had a look at the arrivals board to see when their train was coming. I saw their train was like 10 minutes. I've gone back out the station. As I've come out the station, the police have come. Someone said you've acted suspicious and rare. And I said, what do you mean? You know what I mean? I sent them off anyway. Another situation, I was smoking a cigarette outside Camden Station. I went to go into the station, so I smoked a cigarette, went to get on the train. I got jumped on. I'm like, who the fuck is this? I'm like wrestling with a person. It's undercover police, and they're telling me that I'm involved with a load of drug dealers in the area. I didn't even know anyone in these times. I didn't even know any people in Camden. But you
see, they gave you a reason. A reason.
What was their reason for thinking I was involved with drug dealers in Camden? And no one else.
That's the reason you were arrested. It's not because you were black.
No, I wasn't arrested.
That's the reason they came to you.
if you are 40 times more likely to be stopped and searched and, you know, persecuted by the police, approached by the police, if you're black, what is the reason for that? If they're not stopping for people, like stopping people because they're black, then what is it?
Like I was explaining before, it could be partly because of the way you carry yourself, because it's not
basically what you're doing, you know, is you're putting the blame. So what you're doing, you're putting the blame of black people being victimized onto them. You understand? And this is what's happened since they was hanging them from
no,
trees.
no. I'm not putting the blame on
the reason why he's hanging from a tree is because he wasn't fucking cutting the sugar cane quick enough, or but he wasn't doing. Do you know what I mean? So this is the thing. This is what they always do.
But if you're being arrested, there is a reason why they have arrested. They will give you a reason.
Have you been arrested before?
Yes.
Have you been arrested before? What for?
Yes.
What for? What for?
What for? No comment.
Hey, all right. Well, say this. Yeah, did they have a good reason? Was it a good reason?
They did have a good reason.
They did have a good reason.
Yes.
I think it was some kind of like, you know, Tory like rally or like.
Football Lads Alliance.
Football Lads Alliance, or you know, they were attacking the climate change rally.
Believe you, I've had good and bad relationships with the police. So,
okay,
and I live in between two police stations. So
yeah. Oh, so
do you feel safe there?
Huh?
You feel safe in between two police stations?
I am very safe in my area. Thank
you. Yeah, I still don't get it, man. I still can't work out a reason for voting Conservative, but I do applaud you for not mentioning Jeremy Corbyn once, or you did mention the Labour Party.
Oh, he's an expired leader of a devalued party.
All right, I want to ask a question. Because I've seen that you did vote Brexit, yeah?
No.
You didn't vote Brexit?
No, I voted Remain.
No, but you voted to Remain. Yeah, but you did have a thing on your page saying let's get Brexit done. Yeah, you've got that like banner. Yeah, okay. So now that Brexit done, are you happy with the situation?
Yes.
Yeah, you happy with the situation of like lorries like can't get in and out the country?
That's temporary.
Yeah.
It's not something that is permanent. That's
how long is it going to go on for?
Our democracy, I don't know. Our democracy is far greater than the EU.
I thought you was going to say you got the inside information. You know what I mean? You being so close to the Tories, I was going to say, when can I get my PS5?
The reason we are having the problem we are having at the border is because the deal was done towards the very end of the transitional period. So it didn't allow a lot of people time to do their paperwork to be able to sell their thing inside the EU. So now they have to deal with the paperwork and all of that. And the other one is the politicking in France.
People don't like forms either, bro.
Huh?
Paperwork, all them forms. I'm saying, see, look, white people don't like forms either. You got all this paperwork for the whole country. That's it. Yeah, you're a Boris Johnson fan specifically. You big up Boris quite a lot.
At first, I did not support him on Theresa May, when May ran against him, because I felt that he would be too toxic for Scotland. Okay. But after May left, I had to support him because I felt that our democracy was far greater than EU membership. And the only person that can deliver Brexit was Boris. Yes.
So if Jeremy Corbyn had won the election, would you have supported that too?
If Jeremy Corbyn had won the election, I would not have supported Jeremy Corbyn. I will fight for Jeremy Corbyn to have his opinion and run with his opinion, so long as he's nowhere near government where he can implement it.
I got distracted. I don't want to talk about Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah. How do you feel as a person? You feel that Boris Johnson is good for this job, right? That he completely lied to us about having a Brexit deal ready when he ran, and that's what he ran his entire election campaign on. So he is only in power because of this complete lie that he had a Brexit deal ready that didn't happen.
No, he didn't. I think that people, Boris has been mixed up with a lot of things, and people want to say he's lying and he's not lying and all of these things, especially with his affair, and people create all this narrative. But if you look at the facts,
the fact is, he said, "I have it's oven ready." That was his term, oven ready. He said the thing was in the oven, ready to come.
Yes, he spoke about oven ready deal. This is why people need to learn.
And then there was no deal at all. So he's
he said oven ready deal was the withdrawal agreement. Now there are two agreements. One is the withdrawal agreement, which is we didn't. Parliament voted against the withdrawal agreement, and then on October, I think the year before last, before the general election, he brought that in and tried to prorogue Parliament, and everybody went crazy. You can't prorogue Parliament and the rest of the thing. And so he was saying that even if we do not get a deal from the EU, the withdrawal agreement is enough. And that was the oven-ready deal. An oven-ready deal does not mean it is ready to be eaten. It still needs to be cooked.
No, oven-ready means ready to come out the oven, bro. Yeah?
Oven-ready. It's ready to be put in the oven.
So what I want to ask, yeah, after all this voting, after all this exhausting voting both of you got done, are you now happy with the current democratic situation?
He's over the moon.
Yes.
You're happy with it? Wow. Talk about easy to please, eh? Fucking hell. You know what I mean?
No, there are policies that I would like to see implemented, but due to COVID, we are still trying to find it. We are still in a pandemic.
What kind of policies? Like a stricter border? Do you want a wall like Donald Trump?
A hard border, maybe like a hard border between Northern and Southern Ireland. Would you like?
Leave Donald Trump alone and the Democrats that are hypocrites. The Democrats have been building walls long before Donald Trump. Leave them alone. It's just that Donald Trump made his wall public.
Well, the Democrats and the Tory party are very similar anyway.
They are not. The Democrats are center left. The Conservatives are center right. So the Republicans are mostly
the Conservatives and the Democrats are in the same kind of position politically. And
they're two sides of the same coin.
We are center left and they are center right. I mean, we are center right and we are center left.
Use them terms wrong, just like they do, just for a media fucking hype. They're not left wing at all. Yeah, those guys
are center
right,
left,
center right, both of them. Yeah,
no,
really center left, more to the right, and then you've got Donald Trump's Republican Party was Nigel Farage and all of them.
The Republican Party is center right.
Anyway, we're getting caught up in technicals. I just want to know. So, you're happy with the Brexit, the way the country is at the moment, yeah? Are you happy with the fact that we can't leave the country at the moment?
We can't leave the country because of COVID-19, not because we.
But I'm just saying, are you happy with that situation or not?
With COVID-19?
No, you're happy with the fact that you can't leave the country. I don't think anybody's happy with COVID-19. I'm just saying, like, are you happy that when they've shut the borders, that you're happy that they've shut the borders down? And
oh, he's coming with this. He's coming to this COVID-19 story again. Okay, let's talk about this one.
But I saw a post of you attacking Black Lives Matter in the beginning of the kind of lockdown.
Who, me?
Oh no, Uno was attacking Black Lives Matter in the group, which I'm sure you'll approve of. But he was attacking Black Lives Matter because they thought, Black Lives Mattering was more important than spreading COVID in these protests.
Yes, and
Well,
that was my main issue with Black Lives Matter UK, because I don't know why you already your health, according to the scientists, you are more likely to get infected with the virus, and your lack of vitamin D, vitamin D deficiency as well within Black people, and then some idiot think it is a good thing to go and like protest in solidarity over somebody that is killed in the United States of America.
Of course, but let me tell you, there was idiots on both. Let me tell you something, there was idiots on both sides, because at the end of the day, like I said, in a way, if there was a real virus threat out there, like they said there was, which there isn't, then it wouldn't make no sense to hold a Black Lives Matter rally and have loads of people.
I'm sorry to tell you that there is a virus.
Because it was a lie, because that whole thing was a fucking lie, it didn't really make a difference. You know what I mean? Because it was lies. What was said in the paper was lies. You understand? But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that Black Lives Matter weren't coming with lies as well. Black Lives Matter could have all been lying to us about George Floyd, and that's why I always try get onto. Don't be deceived by what you see in the mass media. It's pretty much a full.
I'm not even acknowledging this nonsense, but do you still work for the NHS?
At the moment, I am not. I'm off sick at the moment. I have my own issues, so I'm off sick at the moment. But so I haven't been there. Even I've been in touch with some people there. I'm still speaking to them, but I've not been at work.
So, how do you feel as a Tory voter? How do you justify being a Tory voter, being someone who works for the NHS, with how they've destroyed the NHS and caused so many people to die under how much they've defunded it?
Okay, let's start. Where do we start with NHS and Tory voter? I in the last election, Jeremy Corbyn had no policy.
Ah, there he goes. There he goes. I knew he was going to come with an answer with Jeremy Corbyn. Sorry, what did you say? Jeremy Corbyn had no what?
Jeremy Corbyn had no policy that made any NHS staff vote for him. Majority of the NHS staff voted for the Conservative Party.
The majority of NHS staff
voted.
That makes sense as well, and that makes sense, Nova. You know that. Wow. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
You think the NHS are enemies?
The problem.
That's why I said it makes a lot of sense, and that's why I said it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that the NHS workers would vote to their own detriment. Do you know what I mean? It makes, in my opinion.
The problem is that there is this continuous thing that the people in the left, especially Labour, keep doing, and over time it becomes boring. So they come in and they say, "Oh, don't vote the Tories; they're going to sell off the NHS." And then that Tory Prime Minister comes and goes, the NHS is still there. Then the next one comes, "Oh, don't vote the Tory; he's going to sell the NHS." And then the next one comes and go, he's still there. Don't vote. After that, nobody's listening to you anymore.
No, they are though. They are. That's the one thing. That is the one thing that people all did still agree with, but it was Brexit that they were like was more important to them. But people were still nearly swayed by the NHS issue. That was the main issue that really needs.
Can I ask one question, please? Can I ask one question to Uno? Jesus Christ, it's just slipped my mind. It was about the NHS. Oh yeah, so Uno, now as a worker for the NHS, do you understand how much people now don't trust the organisation you work for? Do you sympathise with the fact that people don't trust the NHS anymore?
People love the NHS. I don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You sympathise with it, so you never heard of anybody in the recent months talking about how they no longer trust the word of the NHS, so they don't trust the hospitals, so they don't understand.
No, because you have been hanging around too many conspiracy theories.
Where have I been hanging around? Where have I been hanging around conspiracy theorists? Where would I be hanging around with these people?
You've been hanging around too many conspiracy theories.
Where would I been hanging around conspiracy theories?
No,
but this is not the question.
I mean,
that's not an answer.
You're saying
that's
George
not an
Floyd was not dead?
Huh?
You said George Floyd was not murdered. Maybe he's not.
I don't know. Well, I didn't say he wasn't dead. I said I don't know, innit? I don't know. Yeah, I'm open to the fact that it may have been a scam, just like your virus. So just like the scam that your company you work for is running,
okay.
and the deception they're running, it's the same thing. They're deceiving the black community because black people are hard-headed. So they need that. Some of them are like, I ain't fucking care about no COVID. So they're like, okay, have George Floyd then. Have George Floyd. Yeah. And luckily that between George, listen, between George Floyd and COVID, that got every single black person on this planet except for me. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know any other black person that did that. Both, if one of them didn't get him, the other one did. You understand? So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not watching no George Floyd.
I'm gonna side with Uno on this one. You started off siding with Uno. Now I'm gonna flip to Uno on this issue.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Terra, can you tell Terra some kind of how you feel about the idea that COVID doesn't exist, or how you know that it does?
Because my mom had COVID.
Yeah, but you know, no disrespect.
And
everyone
recovered from COVID.
Everyone's had it. This is what I'm saying. Everyone's been tested and tested positive for it. Everyone that's gone and got a test. Fair enough. That's evidence.
Not
but it's not enough evidence to sway me. It's not enough evidence to sway me. People tell me this all day. I'm not like, you know what I mean? People have told me this all day. And even if it is, whether it is or isn't, my whole thing is, it ain't as bad as they tried to make out. They tried to make out like it was this and it was that. Trust me, mate. I've been hugging the homeless. I've been hugging the homeless from the very beginning. Yes, and I'm still here. You understand? And everyone around me is still here. So unless we live in a completely different reality, or unless the situation in the West Country is different to London, and in which case Londoners can't be coming around it. We're going to have to build up.
You know how we're going to end that one?
Huh?
You know how we are going to end that one? Let me give you homework. Go to the hospital and tell them you want to go to ITU and you want to clean all the beds with the COVID patient without your gloves and your apron.
For what? Go and tell them that. Yeah.
And that you don't believe there is COVID and you want to come and help them.
If I want to do that, you know what? If I want to do that,
and then
listen, if I want to do that, if I want to do that, I can. My friend has a cleaning company. I can do that. If I want to go and do a COVID clean, as they called it, I can go and do that.
No, but you're doing a COVID clean, which
even if I go in there with a mop, I can't see nothing, can I? I can't see nothing.
I can't see nothing to do COVID clean. Just go there and tell them you want to clean.
Really? You can't. You know what it is? You can't be going to hospitals at the moment. You see, if all these people turn up to hospitals, it's leading to criminal charges. Yeah, people have been getting. The police have been turning up at people's houses and all sorts of stuff. For people even like insinuating that they might be going to a hospital. So I won't be going to any hospitals. That's me personally. I am not going to any hospitals. I can't be bothered. I'm not that interested. Huh?
I got some highlights from the group that I'm just pulling up that I'm seeing. Yeah. So Uno said on the 4th in 2020, what is Black Lives Matter doing about black people dying from coronavirus?
What? Yeah. What are they doing? Uno? What are they doing? But what I would say. What I would say about that question is it's not Black Lives Matter's problem, innit? Like if it was a case like an economic or social problem, then fair enough. But for Black Lives Matter, they haven't got the power. Black Lives Matter haven't got the power to stop if there was a virus. Yeah, they haven't got the power to control it and shield these people. They haven't got the power. So it's not even, you know what I mean? Black Lives Matter can't stop anything.
Listen to this. Black people were actually beaten in China, made homeless because of COVID-19. They said they were the people spreading COVID-19. Yeah. What did Black Lives Matter do about it?
What were these black people doing in China in the first place? What are they doing over there? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What do you mean, what are they doing there?
Yeah, what the hell are they doing over there? Like literally, what the hell? Like,
they're working.
And you're a black person, you go to China and you get beaten up. And you're going to be surprised.
Now you're being worse than him, Terra, and saying
why? It's going to happen, though. It's going to happen. You want to listen to Nova? You want to listen to Nova? You will lose your life. You go listen to Nova, black man. Go listen to Nova and go to fucking Beijing or somewhere and just or wherever in China. And if you understand, and if you lose your life, blame Nova.
Yeah, but they were making them homeless.
I'm not saying that you should be able
but this is the problem. This is the problem with Black Lives Matter. They are so Western-centric. And the only reason why they do it is because they tolerate them in the West. If they went to China, they would not be able to do some of the bullshit that they're doing here.
Of course they couldn't. But what happened in Africa? A lot of African countries kicked out the Chinese in retaliation. Yeah, that was the right course of action. Yeah, that was the right course of action.
But where was the protest?
No, listen. What they did in, I can't remember what countries they did it, but certain countries expelled all Chinese. Yeah, once they saw that they were messing with their people in China, they expelled all Chinese, and that's the way to do it. Yeah, we'll put them in a camp. That's how you got to deal with people on that sort of level. You understand?
Shout out to Yemi. She said, "I'm here for Uno." Evening all.
Yes, Yemi. What are you saying?
And Lenia said, "This is why you vote Liberal Democrats, but as a Liberal, I don't care. Vote for who you want. You never ever vote Liberal Democrats. Don't listen to that. The Liberal Democrats are fake. They're not liberal. They're pretending they're Tory shills, especially in the last however many two."
So who would you advise? No, I'm not a voter. I'm not a voter, guys. Yeah. So what I want you to do, I want you both to pitch me. Yeah. Nova, tell me why I should vote for Labour as a black man who the police hate. Who should I vote for?
Right now, I don't think you should vote for Labour still.
No? So who should I vote for then?
I'm not voting.
I don't think you should vote for Conservative either.
I don't know.
Who should I vote for then, Uno?
Liberal Democrat.
I should vote for Liberal Democrats.
Yes.
Bloody hell, mate. I can't even spell Liberal Democrats, mate. Fucking hell.
So I'm saying, listen, he just proved my point. I just told, responded to the comment saying, don't ever vote Liberal, they're just Tory shills. They're here because they're here to split the vote. And this man, literally, like avid Tory supporter, just told you to vote Liberal Democrats because that is their purpose.
No.
You might fall for it, and it might help them to trick people.
The problem with the Liberal Democrats is that they have outlandish policies, and the policies that you can't implement in real life. And so, for instance, they're not conservative voters. They were just in a situation where they didn't ever think they were going to be in power. So they came up with policies that they were never going to implement in power, but were popular. So when they got into coalition with the government, they had to abandon some of those policies in order to be in government. And that is where that's why they...
Government, if you're going to abandon your policies. Anyway, I got another one here. You said, this is interesting. Everybody is trying to survive coronavirus, while debt collectors are like pay before you die. This is very interesting to hear you talk about debt collectors and money in that kind of way when you're such a capitalist.
Well, because I have issues with these debt collectors. Sometimes, I mean, I get on my nerves because your friends are always like, I don't know your phone number. I can't call you. But the debt collectors always remember where your phone number is, and they call you with all of these things and these debts that you don't even owe, and they start telling you owe this, you owe that, you owe this. And by the time you finish looking at it,
I was thinking you must.
By the time you finish,
go on.
No, by the time you finish looking at it, you don't even owe them. And then they keep harassing people because they knew that the reason I said that was because they knew that people were going to die. And so it was the opportunity to chase for the debt. Because then if nobody knows they are going to die, then people are going to die from the virus. So chase the person and get your money before they die.
Don't you see that as a result of toxic conservative government focused on
austerity? The result of austerity.
It's not conservative government's problem if you're going to go borrow money and owe people money.
No, but the conservative government have implemented austerity, which creates a situation where where you get yourself into debt and it's difficult to pay back. I was sitting here thinking you must be super financially stable and voting conservative all your life has gone well. If you're in debt, I'm gobsmacked.
I want to ask a question to Uno as well. A few months ago, there was a debate. I think you and Nova was having. I can't remember exactly what the thread was, but it was something to do with like gang violence, and it was about kids. Obviously, kids being killed and kids killing each other. Yeah, or kids being involved. I think it was something to do with a kid being murdered in Camden, and you said these aren't kids; these are monsters. Now, I would like to know what you meant by that comment.
These are weapons.
I understand.
Some kids are not kids. Some kids are weapons.
No, okay. But in this situation we're talking about, In the situation we're talking about, let me finish. Is I know, me personally, I spend a lot of time in the Camden Borough. I know a lot of the kids that are caught up in this. You understand? Like, okay, some of them are older now, but as far as the problems that they're dealing with, these lot are dealing with problems as children. Some of these children are being stabbed. Some of them ain't even involved in gang violence. You understand? They're not involved in gang violence. They might live in certain areas. A lot of the time, that's what's happening. In fact, in most of these recent murders that have happened around North London, Northwest London, it has literally been people that aren't actually involved in gang violence. It's just been young people getting overexcited and someone being stabbed. So would you stand by your comment that these kids are monsters?
No, he said weapons. That is what he said. And I said,
the kids are weapons.
Yeah.
Yes.
You stand by this comment and say that they're weapons?
Yes.
And whose fault is it that they're weapons?
Like, if you're calling someone a weapon, yeah, that means they're a tool being used to inflict violence. So who is holding the tool? If the kid is the weapon, who is the person behind the weapon?
Sometimes it's the one of the biggest problems. It's not Boris Johnson. This is the problem.
No, but you're right. You're right.
They always think the government is the problem, but the government is not the problem. The problem.
You're saying is they are the weapon, so there is a person behind them who wants this to happen, who's using them as a weapon to kill themselves. I agree.
All right. Okay. Let's break this down. Let me break this down. Look, we can find out who the trigger man is if we break the situation down. So let's start on Daniel.
I don't think so. Let's
break it down.
Let's break it down, right? So you've got the kids on the streets, the gang members. What are they on the streets for?
Leave the house.
Huh?
No responsible child will leave the house with a knife to go stab somebody.
No, they're not leaving the house with a knife to go stab someone. They're leaving the house with a knife for their own protection.
Because they fear for their lives.
Trust me.
Why are they fearing for their life? Who is going after them?
Huh?
Who is going after them that they are fearing for their life? We're supposed to protect them from fearing for their life.
But then why aren't you then? That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, look, I tried to protect the youths as much as I could.
It doesn't still stop them from not being weapon.
Yeah, because there's only so much I can do. There's only so much protection I can provide these kids, yeah? At the end of the day, sometimes, and it's not my place to say, I don't endorse knife carrying and nothing like that, yeah? But it's not my, if your life's in danger, like someone breaks into your house and tries to kill you, you are going to reach for the nearest kitchen knife. Like your instinct will make you do that. Like you're dealing with young people that are literally in survival. Yeah, they're not. These young people don't care about what the papers are saying or what people think of them. They're in survival. Just like a soldier in war. A soldier in war isn't walking around thinking, "Oh my God, I'm contributing to gun crime."
And what is a soldier? Is a soldier not a weapon?
Yeah, he's a weapon for the government.
Soldier is a weapon for the government. So I'm saying, so who are these kids a weapon for? You ain't answered.
Because that soldier,
it can be a weapon for themselves. They can be a weapon because they can be a weapon for themselves. It can be a weapon for a group.
So you don't think these children are victims?
Some of them are. If they are victims of lack of parental responsibility. Or
but they're victims of grooming. They're victims of grooming, of gang style grooming as well. This gang style grooming, kids are, you know what I mean? It's almost like a grooming process, the way these kids end up mixed up in street life. So when you say that's
that's possible. That is possible, but they're still a weapon.
It's common. So you're basically saying that these kids, when they get stabbed to death, it's their fault.
Oh, if you're carrying a knife and then you go and kill somebody, whose fault?
No, but I'm not saying if these kids get stabbed to death, it's their fault. It's their fault.
Yes, if you're carrying a knife.
No, but most of the time, the kids get stabbed to death because they ain't carrying a knife.
Yes, that's true.
Many cases,
so
they get caught without their knife.
Is his fault, isn't it?
So you're blaming the victim.
No, he's blaming.
The problem is that
is also it could have been him. So it could have been either of them.
Yeah, you're looking at it from a point of view where people are going out looking for people. Like not everyone is going around looking and hunting for people. Yeah, I'm talking about having your thing on you. Like, I ain't gonna lie, when we were younger,
but
we used
as
to
a
carry
black
things with
community,
us as well.
but as a black community, we are also the problem, because we teach our children that there's something out there to be afraid of, and so they have to carry their knife.
No, that's not who's teaching them. The black community aren't teaching their children that. The black community are
teaching them.
the black. Let me tell you something. No, let me say something. Let me say something. Because look, my family have lived in London since the 1950s. Yeah, what the black community aren't doing is telling you that there is something to be afraid of. They're not telling you that. They're telling you everything's all good and that you can just, you understand, go about your business. You'll be fine. When the fact of the matter is, London, you live in London, you will encounter trouble. Yeah, you will encounter madness at some point in your life. Yeah, so when they realize that, then that's when they start saying, oh, okay, so that's what time it is. So then, boy, I might need to get myself a little, you know what I mean? I might get myself a strap or a knife, or, you understand? So this is the thing. It's not a case of the parents are making the kids afraid. It's more the media. It's more what the media is pumping out there. More what they're.
If you come to the root of it, right? And I'm not talking about a specifically black community issue, but obviously it's very like prominent in that, active in that community. But it comes down to an issue of poverty, you know?
Of what? Sorry.
Poverty.
Yeah.
Poverty makes you.
The thing is. No. It plays a part. It does play a part because the poverty.
In a situation where you don't have much, and then you might take certain risks to get something, and then someone else is doing the same.
You know why? You know why you're right, Nova? Because poverty will stop you. Poverty will prevent you from getting the fuck out of London, where you need to fucking carry a knife. You understand? That's a lot of cases.
I think the main problem is lack of parental responsibility.
That's easy to say. That's easy to say. But I know people who's got very good parents. Very good parents. And they ended up in prison multiple times, involving gangs, guns, drugs, and all sorts of things.
When you're talking about
they end up in prison. They end up in prison due to association with somebody who introduced them to that.
So it wasn't to do with their parents, then, was it?
You know the matter is, me growing up in London on council estates and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I go to the black families that I knew growing up, like, their parents were the best parents that I knew. You know?
Yeah.
You go to their house, trust me, like, some of the white families, I'll go around to their house and their parents are they're drinking all day. They don't give a shit about their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's black parents that are disciplined.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you.
Respected their parents. Like, you would never talk back to their parents or swear at them. Like, there is better parenting in the black community, like, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes down to like working class areas and council estates in London. The black parent is far superior from my experience.
But if you look at the data in which I showed you last time, and I sent it to you, where that doctor in America did the survey in America and was dealing with the parents. I can't remember. I think I sent it to you once, and they did a survey about parental absence and the data, and showed that if the parents are absent, the children are more likely to, about the percentage of people that are more.
Bro, that goes without saying. But so you're blaming black people for having absent parents. Like, you're blaming.
No, I'm saying if your parents is not present in your life, then there is a possibility that you might fall into a bad company. It is not always the case, but there is always that possibility that will happen.
Then you have to look at why parents are not present. Then you have to look at why families are broken. And a lot of it comes back to the same things. Like I said, it comes back to austerity, it comes to poverty, it comes to voting conservative.
It doesn't come to voting conservative. Which conservative? It has nothing to do with conservative. It has something to do with parental absence and lack of parental responsibility. Yeah, the foundation of every problem in the society comes from the lack of parental responsibility.
No, At the end of the day, when you're creating situations where families can't cope, where you've created a system of austerity where families don't have the resources they need to just live and look after their kids and make sure their kids are good. You've got to work 2 jobs. You can't even watch where they are. Yeah. Then you're creating a situation where parental responsibility is damaged. That, like, do you know how like the cost of living in London has changed in the last like 10, 15 years?
Yes, it has changed. And guess what? While we are talking about austerity, how did the austerity come about?
It was
Isn't it the party you support?
What?
The party you support.
Who? I don't support a party.
You stop supporting them.
You were the Labour supporter there, weren't you?
Was it Jeremy?
Exactly.
Same shit, isn't it?
You bankrupt the country and left a note. The party you supported bankrupt the country and left a note. There is no money left.
Oh, wait. You mean Margaret Thatcher's Labour Party? You're talking about Margaret Thatcher's Labour?
Yes, the Labour Party bankrupt. Yes, the Labour Party bankrupt the country and left a note saying there is no money left.
Margaret Thatcher's Labour Party, the one that Margaret Thatcher claimed was her greatest achievement in her entire career.
Margaret Thatcher's Labour Party. Margaret Thatcher was conservative.
Yeah, so
Labour.
We had a situation.
She had never been Labour.
We had a situation where the political elite and the British elite decided to let a Labour Party into government to appease the people, to make them think something was going to be different. This is why people say they're all the same and all of that, because we had a situation where the media and everyone decided they were going to walk through a Labour Party leader. But they were only going to do that on the terms that they were going to operate the same way a Conservative leader would operate. So we have never actually had a Labour leader in our lifetime that didn't operate under Conservative policy. And we're about to have the same thing happen now. And I'll tell you now, we are going to have a Labour government in the next election. Keir Starmer will be the next Prime Minister, and it will be because the media decide to allow it to happen, because he's going to walk through and run with Conservative policy.
Let me tell you something. Keir Starmer will not be the leader of this country.
He will. And I won't vote.
He will not.
I won't vote for him.
He will not be the leader of this country.
Vote for bad slave, buy bad slave merchandise. That's the only way.
Comment here for just who said, can you do a poll, Uno, Nova or Terra for PM? I'll breach my strict anti-voting policy and vote for Terra.
Thank you.
And then,
because you know what it is. If people vote for me, they know they'll get what I promise they'll get. You know what I mean? So when I say, boom, we're gonna have fucking housing for all. We're gonna free up the economy for the people. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. But then certain people that have chatted shit. Yeah,
at least you will have to
persecution. That's all they've been getting from me, pure persecution. Everyone that's on the right side, not the political right side.
We've gone over longer than we usually do, but I want to just go back to the beginning. Uno, how do you feel saying you voted Conservative because of the focus on the individual? How do you feel that is doing for the individual currently? And even in your time since being a Conservative voter?
Doing for the individual, at the moment, COVID is helping anybody, is it? So COVID is a factor on COVID has an impact on the way the government policy is implemented.
Bad slave people, bad slave. Every day. COVID is an excuse.
COVID has an impact on how it is the government policy is implemented. So it is difficult in that sense.
Well, the Conservative government implemented a whole load of socialist policy because of COVID.
Yes, because at the time of COVID, you have to have, like I said to you, Labour lays emphasis on collective responsibility, Conservative lays emphasis on individual responsibilities. In a time of national crisis like this one or a war, you have to lay emphasis.
Listen, bro, Uno, when have we not been in a national crisis? Kids are dying every day. Homeless people are dying in the street. We've been in a national crisis for 20 years. So the government, if you're telling me that the Conservative government are right to implement socialist policy because of
Jesse as well.
Now listen, you're telling me that they were correct to implement socialist policy because of a national crisis called COVID-19. But guess what? We've been in a national crisis our whole lives. Why shouldn't we?
We have not been in a pandemic all our lives.
Not a fucking pandemic. We've been in a pandemic of homeless people dying.
We have not been in a pandemic
of gang violence.
We have not,
what are we doing about it? It's a national crisis. Why are
we have not been in a pandemic of homeless people?
The Conservative government are not responsible for that to do something.
We've had a pandemic of violence and homelessness. Yeah, we have had a pandemic of violence, homelessness, and mental health.
We have not been a pandemic of
and drug addiction
and violence.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let's go to homelessness. The problem here is that even if the government were to give a homeless person a house, that homeless person will become homeless if you don't teach the person how not to be homeless.
Yeah, what's the problem with that?
If you give somebody, there are different kinds of homelessness. There are people who are intentionally homeless. So even if you give them a house, they will make themselves homeless again.
Because of the cycle we have created, because of austerity. Yeah.
It's not because of the cycle we have created. Some people enjoy to be homeless.
Listen, no, they don't. Listen, there's plenty of people that are homeless. They're not on drugs. They're not alcoholics. They're just struggling.
There are people who are genuinely homeless.
Loads of people like that. Loads across the country. Yeah, that are forgotten about, including the people that are on drugs. Now, at the end of the day, okay, a drug addict. You put a drug addict in a house, he's gonna still be a drug addict and lose the house. Fair enough. But how is all these drugs getting in without the help of either the Tory or whatever government is in power? How are these people? How is a government? If I was running the country and I was saying drugs aren't getting in the country, yeah, trust me, there's no way kilos are getting in. Yeah, you might get a little 10 drawer in your sock if you're lucky, but you know what I mean. At the end of the day, I say no guns. Huh?
This is where I start agreeing with the conspiracies, because obviously we start realizing, and it's not even a conspiracy, but the government, the government actually encourage crime as a business. The government want you to commit crime. The government create a situation where you're going to have to commit crime, so that you do commit crime. Then they police it to put you in jail. They don't police the community in order to help it. They police the community in order to profit from it. They put people in prison, and prison becomes a business. This is the system that we're living in.
I don't think that's the case. I think that I don't think that's the case. I think that we have three different kinds of homelessness for you. We have people who are genuinely homeless. We have people who are intentionally homeless, and then we have people who are homeless as a business.
I'm not
homelessness is also a business.
I'll be honest, I'm not even interested in that conversation. That people
homelessness is a business.
Yeah. People that make money of it. I don't even know what it's about. I don't care. I want to say something about your hero. I want to say something about your hero.
It's also a business.
Yeah, created by manufacturer.
Okay, let me ask you a question. When you see those Polish people or those Eastern European people, and they have one big, let's say like a 1-bedroom flat, and 90 people are sleeping in them, what do you think happens there?
What do you mean?
Do you not know? And all of them are homeless. They're going around begging, and they have one guy that they come in and give money to.
Yeah, that's a business in order to them.
And so
good.
Let me just say that is not the stereotype for Polish people. Yeah, I'll say that for
no, it's not all Polish. I'm not saying it's not a stereotype for Polish people. I'm not saying all Polish people.
What you're saying is Romany people. You're referring to Romany gypsy people. You're referring to Romany gypsy people who, for culturally, have been denied a homeland and have literally had to survive their way because they've been exiled to Europe. Yeah, and they've had to survive their way from fucking begging, stealing, playing music. You get what I mean? So we're talking about more oppressed people in survival mode now.
So in that situation where people are manipulating homelessness and using it in that way, there's nothing the government can really do, because even if the
government's gone Brexit now, so now they can't come in.
I want to read that one comment here, then I want to wrap this round. But Jesse Freeman said there's a huge community of homeless people that have been abused by people in the system, historically, child sexual abuse. They don't trust the system and often struggling with mental health and addiction. And that's true. So there's nobody.
That's the point. That is the point. There is no other point. That's the point.
And we don't have a system in place to help them and make them feel comfortable, make them feel like they can come back into a place where they can live somewhere and feel looked after. And I want to come back. This is coming all the way back to your original point of individualism. We keep coming back to it, but that was your key point of why you vote Conservative, right?
Yes.
So the key situation we're in now with the housing crisis, Margaret Thatcher, and this is the thing that a lot of people have used to I intend to use it in my life or whatever. But she brought in the policy of right to buy, right?
Yeah.
So we were all, that was for the individual. That was for the individual to be, and the and like you say, the individual then benefits the family, etc. So for the individual and the family to be able to do something for themselves, to be able to own their home, yeah. What that system then created was we owned our home. Then landlords started coming along. People either became landlords or the landlords came along and said, "Hey, let me buy that property off you," and they'll buy it off you for a profit. Now, all we've actually created there is we've handed over all of this social housing to private landlords who then drove the rent up to the point where we can't now afford the rent in anywhere in London. Yeah. Again, austerity. So this is the direct effect of voting for the individual.
No, not necessarily. I think that one of the
individual starts to then plot against the next individual, and you create a situation where you're driving each other into a situation where there's a lot of individuals who can't get in on it and they can't eat, and that's where we're at. So it hasn't worked. And I'm interested to hear what you could tell me, and I'm not interested in what's going forward. I'm interested in this idea of the individual in our lifetimes. We're all of a certain age of our lifetimes, what it has led to, because it has led to this situation where people can't afford to eat, where people can't afford housing, yeah. And this
it has led to be well. It is not individual freedom that has led to people not being able to afford housing. It is the way we manage our housing stock that has led to people not being able to afford housing.
Yeah, we manage our housing stock, selling it off. That's what I just explained how we manage our housing stock. That came from the
yes, the way we manage our housing stock is the reason why people cannot afford housing. For instance, I don't see why someone who earns £1 million is still living in a council house.
I'm talking about the person who owns £1 million. Because there's a housing crisis where bare people can't even get a yard. Alex Harvey just said, Thatcher said she would build 3 houses for everyone she sold. Surprise, surprise, never happened. Like every other topic.
Yes, it never happened, because that's what I'm saying, that the problem is the lack of house building.
So who's responsible for that? Because then we can go back to a couple of years ago when
at the moment the person with
Theresa May or whoever in the Conservative Party recently said they were going to build 1 million homes or whatever, and then we looked into it. They'd only built like 200,000, and all of them were for some next new help to buy scheme, which is.
Well, let me ask both of you a question. Because both of you two have been pro politics, yeah. You've been pro Labour. Whether you are, you have been pro Labour. You have gone out and told people to vote. Yeah? And some of you know. So what I want to ask, yeah, is at what point am I allowed to publicly say I don't trust politics? Is it okay for me to say now?
I've been saying it my whole life. So I'm saying don't.
How? Yeah, okay, yeah, you did. But at some point you got swayed. At some point you got swayed, didn't you? At some point you got. There was a glimmer of hope. You saw a glimmer of hope, and you thought, you know what? I don't usually do this, but I'm going to give it a chance. And that failed. It was a big L.
At some point there was a person. No, it wasn't a fail actually. But at some point there was a person in a position of power who feels like we do. So that's the. Yeah, so
of course.
We're going to try a team with this person, but that doesn't mean he don't.
You got swayed to some degree.
Even that system either, so cool.
No, but you got swayed to some degree.
That person was a
threat
to national security.
Listen, I don't care about all that. I can look at Corbyn and say he seems like an all right guy, and and he seems like a nice guy, and you know what I mean. A lot of people around North London know him, and he's cool, and he used to live in Jamaica and drink Red Stripe. But anyway, I'm still not going to go and vote for him. It's just like that's it. I'm not going to go and vote for him, but that's what I'm saying.
Like, all of the things we're saying against the government, yeah, you can have the conversation with him and he felt the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
oh, I believe that.
That's why it was different. That's why it was a different situation. It was someone in the system who wanted to change this challenge.
But my whole point is, what I'm trying to say is all of that voting was still in vain. Like if it was like we went out and voted, everyone. Like, if we went out and voted, and as a result of us voting, we're sitting here 2021. Like I know Novi, I know you're doing all right now. So you know what I mean. Big up, but you get me. Like you know what I mean. We were sitting here, nice, plush new builds, nice brand new cars outside, fucking loans from the. You know what I mean. If it was just all nice, yeah, then I could say, boy, you know what, them man were right, you know. The man was right. They had a point.
We didn't
But
achieve.
as it stands, I can't see any point of why it doesn't. It makes no difference whether I vote or not.
Well,
Has
it does.
absolutely
Well, the
zero
fact
effect
you
on my
didn't vote-
life.
The fact you didn't vote and enough people didn't vote has now left us with another conservative government.
It's not my fault. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
It's
I'm
not
saying
my fault.
that's
It's
not
not. In fact. Let me tell you that. In fact, if more people were listening to me and thinking like me, they'd be in a better situation. Yeah, get facts. They'd be in a better situation because it don't matter what people think about my opinion. I can guarantee I'm in a better situation than a lot of people.
I'm
Yeah,
in a
just
good situation.
and it's my way of thinking that's led me there.
But like you said, I'm good, and that's my way of thinking too. And it
I
ain't
know you are, and I'm not, and so I can't knock that to
Nova,
something. I know with you,
question
Nova.
for you.
But Nova, I know with you. I know with you, Nova. A lot of that was your own efforts. Yeah, as much as you might got brainwashed by the whatever, you still got your own mind. You still do your own thing.
Right, let's bring it back
Yeah?
to Uno, because what we're both saying here,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, is actually the same thing what Uno's saying. Because
Yeah.
we're actually, as individuals, doing what we can for us. Yeah. So
course.
that's what Uno's talking about. But I'm saying,
Yes.
I understand that is creating a situation that fucks other people.
Of course.
Like I said, I'm gonna buy my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that that's because I live in a capitalist world and I have to survive.
Yeah, you have to do your thing.
Like at the end of the day, but it's not my ideals. It's not my political ideal. It's not what I think is right. I just have to survive. I have to look after my daughter and kind of thing.
Like, ideally, you'd like if everyone could buy the house.
I know that is going to create a situation. That's creating a situation where another person.
But the whole idea
Yeah.
I'm not
is
going
to get everyone to the position. The whole idea
change along the way.
But the whole idea is to get everyone to a position where everyone can buy their own house instead of just having some group of people.
Not working capitalism.
We can't if we only focus on the individual, and the individual is allowed to reach to a certain point where there's only like
even if you focus on government just buying the properties, you will not still be able to deal with the whole of the
Here's
house.
Here's a comment. Jesse Freeman, Nottingham has 400 empty properties with 900 residents waiting for a home.
Yeah.
How many houses do you think your friend in the Labour Party, the Mayor of London, has built so far?
What?
Because he
Sadiq Khan. He knocked them down.
Listen.
Because he's meant to. So you keep blaming the Tory.
Sadiq Khan is a snake, people.
But you have a do-nothing mayor that has built nothing.
Listen, let me one, that's not my friend. One, that's not my friend. Two, yeah. That man is working under Tory policy and Tory budgets. Tories make the decision of we're going to allow this many houses to build. He doesn't make it.
He's still a punter, isn't he?
We did not make such a decision. The Tories did not make such a decision. In fact, the Tories are complaining about his housing. Let me actually get the numbers of houses he has built so far, and his promise of houses he was planning to build.
But we all know Sadiq Khan's full of shit. You know what I mean? Like whether
he's a do-nothing mayor of London.
Sadiq Khan is the worst. Sadiq Khan, in my opinion, is one of the worst mayors London's ever had, apart from Boris. I'd say Boris is probably the worst, and then Sadiq Khan is definitely like number two. He's a terrible mayor, and you know what? Gang crime is gone through the roof under Sadiq Khan. You understand? Gang crime
under a Tory government completely underfunded. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but I'm not blaming the Tories. They're all in it together. Yeah, they're all to blame.
You know what it was? It was 200,000 homes that Tories were meant to build every year. 2019 November, Tories failed to build any of the 200,000.
Yeah, but like I said, when are people?
How many did Labour build? How many did Labour build in Wales in 3 years? 58.
When?
Council houses.
When?
In Wales.
When did they build them? When were they in government?
I think the year before the election.
What do you mean? When were they in government?
In Wales, the Labour is in government in Wales.
What Wales had a Labour Party government. Wales had their own government. What are you talking about? When have Labour been in power? And Tony Blair don't even count.
No, Wales have their own Labour government. Labour in power in Wales. So you don't know Labour in power in Wales.
Yeah, so You're telling me that Wales has a separate government to us?
We have the you know, like we have a devolved government in Scotland.
Wales are independent, yeah? They're independent.
We have a devolved government in Wales. They are responsible for housing in Wales.
I know Scotland voted for independence and they voted against it. Like you're saying, Wales are independent of us?
No, I'm saying Wales have their own government in Wales. They have their own devolved government in Wales.
Yeah. So it's still
where's their government? Where's their government headquarters? Is it in a barnyard somewhere? You know what I mean?
Hey, don't take shots at the Welsh. The Welsh are man.
I'm across the. I can see Wales. I can literally look across the water and see Wales. How do you mean? Welsh.
Go take a walk to their Houses of Parliament and tell them Uno said that the Labour Party didn't build any houses or whatever.
In the valley. I heard the Welsh
house in Wales.
The Welsh Parliament, the Welsh Parliament building. I think it's in the valleys. I think
exactly. It's the Senate.
It's actually doubled as a pub. Do you know what I mean? Literally, and a nightclub. You know what I mean? So.
No homes built under 2015 Tory housing pledge. So why are you asking me what Labour has built when the Conservative government is the government running the country and they are the ones making pledges to build housing and fix homelessness and not doing it?
Yeah, but if you're the people you are supporting, like the mayor of London, we're supposed to build the houses and not building the houses and meeting there. It's not his responsibility.
But I'm saying the mayor of London is operating under a Conservative government.
He's operating under a Conservative government, but he's not doing his job. So what do you expect?
What do you mean he's not doing his job? He's doing the job that he's allowed to do under
I have
government.
I have sent you something from City FM. Look at it. I've sent you something from City FM.
On where? Where have you sent it to me? On Facebook. We got to stop it. We've gone an hour and a half.
It has been a good show, though. It's definitely been a good show. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It's been a good show. That's why we ran over time.
And look, you see what you just sent me, bro? You just sent me an article that said affordable housing, yeah? Affordable housing. Let me just see what that said on the link. Affordable housing. Sadiq Khan misses his affordable housing target. How can they call it Sadiq Khan's affordable housing target when affordable housing is a conservative?
He's the one in charge of building the houses.
No. Affordable housing is a conservative government scheme. It is a con, yeah? It is a scheme to remove social housing where they actually charge 80% of private rent value to people who are supposed to be in social housing situations. They actually...
Are you saying that the can is conservative?
When you go to the council and try to get a house and they offer you an affordable housing place, you have to go through the same kind of checks you do when getting a private house. This man thing is fucking signing on. How are you even supposed to get that yard? This whole system is a con, and it's a conservative government system called.
I want to bring up what David Lammy said.
Jeremy Corbyn had it specifically written in his manifesto that affordable housing would be scrapped if the Labour Party won their election. So don't talk to me about.
Okay. So why didn't Labour? Why did Jeremy Corbyn scrap? Was Sadiq Khan not mayor when Jeremy Corbyn was leader?
What?
Was Sadiq Khan not mayor when Jeremy Corbyn was leader? So why didn't he scrap it?
He wasn't in power. The government is a conservative party. He didn't win the election. It was in his manifesto.
Why didn't he scrap it?
Oh shit!
The joke didn't work twice, bro.
well, David Lammy the other day said something which caused a bit of uproar. He said something about something like homeless people or something, homeless families should be able to afford a deposit on a house. Like he said, he doesn't see how it's a problem for homeless people to afford a deposit to buy a house, and that caused a bit of a
buy a house.
Huh? Buy a house, yeah.
David Lammy's been off his rocker for years, but fucking the only time
David Lammy, mate, you don't want to hear what I've got to say about him.
I know, but I'll tell you about David Lammy. Yeah, the thing is, David Lammy is kind of like he's a career politician, and under Jeremy Corbyn, he kind of turned his game around quite a bit and did some good bits. But
He tried to appear like a good. Let me tell you, David Lammy tried to appear like a decent person, but he's a piece of shit. Yeah. And he's telling people to go and get vaccinated now. And Uno, we want to know your opinion on the vaccine. Should we get vaccinated, Uno?
Yes.
We should get vaccinated.
Have you signed up for your vaccination?
For my one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When are you getting yours?
I don't know.
Can we do it live on the show?
Are you concerned about any possible side effects the vaccine might give you?
So far, I've not seen any of my colleagues who have received the side effect turning into
no Bell's palsy or nothing like that. No. No one's got Bell's palsy. No. Okay.
I think my only concern with the vaccine is that at the moment what they are saying is that the mutated version, which is the South African variant, is
and the Brazilian one as well.
Percent chances of, the 50% chances of the vaccination not working on that one.
So would you get another vaccine after that? So if you get the first vaccine and then they tell you, oh, well, the Venezuelan version of COVID's now here, would you get another vaccine to counter the Venezuelan version or the Colombian one or the Brazilian or the South African, whatever one comes in? You know what I mean?
That one is what I don't know, to be honest.
Do you think the vaccine, the COVID variant could be a code word for immigrants? So when they're saying, the South African variant, or the Brazilians, so we got to shut the door for the Brazilians, shut the door for the South African. You know what I mean? Do you think that was a possibility? This has gone on for too long. This has gone on for too long.
I think we need to wrap it up.
Right, but yeah, big up to Uno anyway, because I think this is probably my favourite one so far.
This was very great, and we have to do it again. I want Uno to come back again with Jacob. I want Jacob and you to come on together, and we'll have
Jacob. Oh God, Jacob, he's hard work, mate. I've seen him. I've seen Jacob in action. He's hard work.
Terra will be on your side against Jacob, and
what is Jacob's stance?
No, Uno and Jacob used to argue in the group a lot. I can't even remember over what. Sometimes.
Well, we know Jacob. He likes to have an argument, don't we? He definitely likes to have an argument, and he, you know what it is. I seen what he was saying about religion, and although I don't agree with what he was saying, the way he put it across, I was like, this guy is not playing games.
I don't agree with him all the time, but he's got he puts his point across.
He's got his truth, and he stands within his truth. So you understand, he backs what he believes with. You understand? So yeah, you know.
Anyway, let's cut it off.
But also, Nova. I got a request. Yeah. So you know Jessie, my friend Jessie.
Yeah.
From Nottingham. She wants to come on next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to get Jessie on next week. Come on. We need. So Nova, for a man who's all about feminism, you ain't had no women on this show.
Yeah, we need women on the show. 100%. I'm down with that.
But Uno, you better come back, man. Come on.
I will do.
Yes. Good.
Yeah. And Jesse said that in the comment. She might have wrote that beforehand, but great show, guys. I want to see some female guests soon. Completely agree with you on that one. And Alex Harvey, ACMC, Lenny, one that's been watching, big up. We'll come back next week. And all up.
Yes, big up.
All right, that's ended. Big up.
Good.